This has been one of the toughest years that I can imagine for people in the arts industry. Last year's comedy festival was pretty much non-existent. How have you prepared for this year, but also how have you put the events of the last 12 months behind you as well?
I mean, that is a very good question. um, well, it's been hard to prepare because there haven't been that many gigs, which I like to do gigs every night to work on the material and the show, but that hasn't really been an option so much the last few months. But I'm kind of lucky that I've got a lot of the show that I was going to do from last year still going to kind of be in this year's show. So a lot of the stuff that I was going to talk about last year kind of carries over into this year, which is nice. But also, I've just got like a bunch of extra material about COVID and the last 12 months, how much the world has changed. So it's kind of like the show I was going to do last year, but I've updated it a bit based upon all the crazy things that have happened.
Yeah, and in the last 12 months you went through a very personal journey as well. Would you like to tell our listeners a little bit about what you went through personally in the last 12 months?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I had testicular cancer back in 2017, and I did chemo and everything, and got into remission, and I thought I was clear. And then in July last year, it was kind of like unexpectedly it started to come back. So I had to undergo some pretty intense chemotherapy during the second half of last year. So good timing, because there was not much else to do. We were in lockdown anyway, so it was good to knock off the cancer treatment during that period. So yeah, it was kind of like it was obviously a really tough year for me, and I guess the good news is that I've got some new material and some new experiences to talk about.
Yeah, now you talk about it being new material. It's one of the things I've loved about comedy over the years is when a comedian can take something so personal and put it into their show. How difficult is it for you, though, to write jokes about something that is so serious as testicular cancer?
I actually find it kind of easy to do because, I guess, first of all, because it's really personal to me, and true to me, it's kind of easy to write about. And I also think that when you're talking about cancer, like, there's a lot of tension in the room when you talk about cancer. So if you're able to release the tension, you get like a really good laugh. So I actually think it's kind of, I guess, easy to talk about cancer in comedy, just because when the stakes are high, the laughter tends to be bigger as well.
Yeah.
I think the challenge for me was like, I'd already spoken about having cancer like 2 years ago, back in 2019. So the challenge for me was trying to find some new angles on it. And I think I found some kind of new ideas about it, what it's like to kind of go through it again. I was able to find some, I guess, original kind of takes on it.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. How does the audience find that? Because I've just been watching a television series at the moment where a character found out that she was dying and she started to tell jokes about it and her friends were absolutely horrified. How do you kind of gauge how the room is taking it and how do they generally accept it?
Well, I mean, the worst thing that can happen is for the audience to feel sorry for you. So,
Yeah.
Because, if they feel sorry for you, then, there's no way that you can get them to laugh. So I guess for me, I mostly focus on just, I guess for me, I mostly just focus on, like, clearly being comfortable talking about the topic and clearly being comfortable, going to those dark areas. And if I'm comfortable and confident, then the audience kind of relaxes as well. And, instead of feeling sorry for me, they're happy to laugh at me.
Yeah.
Laugh with me. So, I guess for me it's just about finding a way to make sure the audience doesn't feel sorry for me.
Yeah. You also mentioned before about the fact that you haven't been able to do any shows over the last 12 months. Now, you have a little bit of an outlet with the project, but for other comedians out there that don't have work like that, are they just going to be like caged lions getting up onto the stage at this year's comedy festival?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I think people are just going. I think the comedians are going to be just so excited to have, live shows again. I mean, I guess some comedians have been doing, the Zoom shows and things like that, which I did a few of, and they're an absolute nightmare. They're awful, and I would not recommend them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that we're all going to be. I think we're all super excited for it. I think we're all just kind of very tense about, because we all really wanted to go ahead and go ahead as planned. And so, I think there's a bit of tension amongst comedians at the moment, but yeah, I think we're just all so excited for it. I think it'll go ahead. I think I'll find a way to make it work with live crowd.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everyone's going to be. You're right. Everyone's going to be just on stage the first night, just so happy.
Yeah. What was the nightmare that you found with the Zoom shows? Because I've spoken to a few bands about this that have tried to do Zoom shows, and they've said that it's just because there's no audience reaction there at all. Was that what you found as well that made them such a nightmare?
Yeah, interesting, because I thought maybe a music band might be more suited to it, because perhaps they're less reliant on immediate response. But yeah, for me, I mean, when you're doing comedy, if you don't have that immediate laugh or not laugh, you just have no idea what you're doing, and you have no idea, what if you should go further or what material you should do next. So when you're doing a gig over Zoom and everyone's muted, you might as well be yelling into the void.
Yeah.
And then I did one gig where I didn't want the audience muted because I wanted to be able to hear some laughter. And then I just started getting heckled from everyone because they were all unmuted. So either way, you really can't win on Zoom. So I'm just so excited to never have to do Zoom shows again.
Yeah, I did actually hear a band try to do an unmuted Zoom, and suddenly they could hear people receiving Uber deliveries and things like that in the middle of their show, so it's probably not a great idea. I guess you've kind of answered my next question, though. I was going to ask, if the comedy festival wasn't able to go ahead because of a lockdown, would they ever consider doing all the shows on Zoom? But I think you might have answered that.
I mean, I think the festival might offer it, but I don't think I would say yes to that. I would just say, no, I'll wait till we all get vaccinated and we can do it all properly live. I mean, yeah, it's just so incomparable doing it over Zoom and doing it live. I don't even consider Zoom comedy to be like comedy, to be honest.
Yeah. Now,
I don't consider it to be a gig.
Now, the name of your show is 110%. That's something that we kind of always put together with football or sport. What made you decide on that name for the show, and what does that mean for the audience? Are you going to bring 110%?
Well, yeah, I called it that because it's kind of a bit of a tribute to how much I've missed doing comedy, and so as soon as I can get back on stage, I'm just going to give it everything I've got. I know it's a mathematical impossibility, so I guess we'll aim for 100%, if not 110. But I've always loved the way the footballers just use that. I'm a huge footy fan, and I've got some material in my show about Wayne Carey, and I've always loved the way the footballers just use hyperbole and exaggeration. I thought, well, why can't I do that as well? So yeah, that's why I called it that.
Definitely. Now, if people do want to come along and hear your show and hear those great jokes about the Duck himself, how do they go about grabbing tickets?
Well, don't tell the Duck, because I'm not sure if he'll be very happy with things I say about it. But yeah, you can get all the tickets just through comedyfestival.com.au. You can just search my name, Michael Schaefer, or the show title, 110%. I think it'll come up.
Is that the absolute worst nightmare for you, if you're doing material and the person that material is about is there in the audience?
I think it would be. I mean, I've previously done material about, my girlfriend and, her parents were in the crowd, and, that's the worst thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, now, there's a few celebrities that kind of have a crack at during this year's show, so I really hope that none of them come on the show. I mean, yeah, I'll find out about it, because it could certainly affect my career. But we'll just hope that, put it this way, hopefully as long as, Koshi and Wayne Carey don't turn up, then I should be fine.
Yeah. I had the same thing happen. I did my first stand-up gig just before we went into COVID lockdown, actually, and I had a joke in there. I had a joke in there about my wife and a certain vomiting incident on a plane, and I was led to believe that she was going to be helping out the back and wouldn't hear the show, and she came in to hear my bit and heard it all. So, yeah.
How did she react to that?
Not too well is probably the best way to put that. So, yeah. But, mate, look, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We will put a link up as well to where people can grab your tickets so they can grab tickets. But thank you so much for chatting to us, and it is great to see you coming back to the Melbourne Comedy Festival this year.
Thanks, David. I can't wait. Appreciate the chat.
Not a problem, mate. You have a great day, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Bye.